Well, hello. Welcome back. Hopefully, you're back here for day 3 of our recap of the Jose Ruiz trial. If you haven't seen the first 2 days, I recommend that you head over to the channel and have a look at day 1 and day 2. Day 1 has a full overview of the case involving Jose Ruiz, who has been charged on 8 counts of causing injury to a child under the age of 14. It's a terribly unfortunate and horrific story. So, trigger warning, graphic content may be heard. They don't show anything graphic in nature on the live stream, but they do describe in quite a bit of detail. Now, today is the 3rd day of the trial, and there are 3 witnesses. It is still the prosecution's case in chief. So they had, I think, 7 witnesses yesterday and 3 the first day. So there is 3 witnesses today. And if you watch the end of yesterday's live stream, I actually made a mistake and said that the chief medical examiner was going to testify today, but that's tomorrow. I apologise for that. Today we have a detective, Kevin Landrum, who is in the San Antonio Police Department. He works in the night unit, and he went and did a walkthrough of the Jose's apartment that he was just in the process of moving into. So that was the second crime scene they established. So we'll present that video footage for you. It's just video footage. There's no audio, but the witness walks us through the video as we go. So a big thank you again to KSAT News and Judge Stephanie Boyd. The links to their YouTube channels are in the description below, and I encourage you to head on over there and like and subscribe to their channels because they have amazing content and they have a fabulous coverage of this trial. As if you watched yesterday was my maiden voyage. It was my cherry popping experience for live streaming. So today is day 2, and hopefully, touch wood, we don't have any IT issues or wardrobe malfunctions. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Oh, this is my tribute, just so that we remember that this is about the victims. And in this case, it was a 5-year-old girl called Mercedes Victoria Lasoya. Okay, so buckle down, get your snacks, get your Milo or your coffee or whatever it is that you fancy, and we shall get into it. So we're starting off at okay, let's play. This is Detective Kevin Landrum from the Night Criminal Investigation Unit of the San Antonio Police Department. The volume will come up.
welcome to my kennel. Come on in and I'll show you around.
Oh, hello.
Should get
Well,
more.
this is my sleeping nook. Oh,
I really need to upgrade to YouTube Premium.
All right, everyone, please be seated. State, call your next witness.
State called Detective Kevin Landrum.
If you raise your right hand for me, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so members of the jury and the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
My name is Kevin Landrum.
All right, state.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Detective.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Kevin Landrum. I'm a detective with the San Antonio Police Department. I work in the night criminal investigation division, and I've been there for about 14 years.
What is the night criminal investigation?
We investigate all felony offenses that occur between the hours of 7 at night and 5 in the morning. We begin the investigation, and then it's passed off to the follow-up unit the following morning.
What are follow-up units?
Follow-up units are the ones that handle the cases and finish the investigation, file cases with the district attorney.
What are your duties as a detective?
My duties are to identify witnesses, evidence, interview witnesses, make sure that all the evidence is processed and collected, and to prepare the reports of what I did.
Did you assist on a case with a defendant by the name of Jose Ruiz?
I did.
How did you assist?
On that day, I was contacted by Detective Nelson, who was the night CID detective handling the incident, and he requested me to assist him in obtaining a search warrant and to execute that search warrant.
What was the search warrant for?
The search warrant was for an apartment that they believed that some things had occurred in.
Do you know the address of that apartment?
I believe it was 13031 Park Crossing, apartment 2501, I believe.
This is the apartment he was moving into with his brothers
it is.
Rocco and Ruben.
Who does that? Did you know who that apartment belonged to?
No, I did not at the time.
Did you come to learn who that apartment belonged to?
Yes, I came to understand that it was occupied by three persons. That Mr. Ruiz and I believe his two brothers.
Do you recall their names?
I want to say one was Jose, and I don't. Was it Ruben? The other one, I believe.
Did you write a report for this case?
I did.
And was looking at a copy of your report help refresh your memory?
Yes, it would.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Shiny has been marked for identification purposes. Does this appear to be a complete copy of your?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Please look at this. If you need to refresh your memory, please don't read directly from
Correct.
it. And if you want to take a look at it, what were the names of the two brothers?
The two names were Ruben Medina and Rocco Medina.
And did you execute that search warrant?
Yes, I did.
Was it just you, or was anyone with you?
There was patrol officers there securing the scene, and they had arrived prior to my arrival, and as well as the CSI unit.
What was the condition of the apartment when you got there?
The downstairs was in disarray. It appeared that they were moving in. There were boxes, bags. It appeared that they were in the process of moving.
Did you observe anything that caught your attention when you went through the apartment?
Going through the apartment, there was quite a few what you would call like pee pads, like you would use with a dog on the floor or for persons on a bed. There was
What was the state of those pee pads?
they were obviously used. They appeared to some have been urinated on. There were dogs in the apartment, so I couldn't say for sure what had, but on some of them, there was one that appeared to have human hair on it and also appeared to have vomit on it.
Were photos taken during the search of this apartment?
Yes, they were.
And was a video taken?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you it's been marked as exhibit number 86. What do you recognize this?
That looks like a CD copy of the video that would have been done at the scene.
And is this an accurate depiction of what was observed? At
Yes,
that
it
crime
is.
scene? And have you viewed this?
Yes, I have.
And how do you know this is what you viewed?
My initials and badge number are on the CD.
And like all crime scene videos, does this one lack audio?
Yes.
This time state what offers state's exhibit number 86.
Permission to publish.
No, I'm sorry. No objection. All right, state's exhibit number 86 is admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
Okay, so they're going to play the walkthrough of the second apartment that Jose was moving into with his brothers. I think it goes for about 20 minutes.
What are we seeing at the beginning of this video?
That is the doorway, the entrance to the apartment. You see the door number.
It will show us.
I'm gonna pause here about 14 seconds in. What is in the lower left-hand corner?
There's a ring camera there, and also on top of that refrigerator is some
Okay.
of those P-pad items.
Might make that full screen so that you can see properly. Nope.
Does what on screen, does that match your description that you gave of what the scene looks like?
Yes.
Where's the video currently showing? What room?
That would be what the downstairs living room.
And then what's currently on the screen?
Two
That would be
pit bulls.
the 2 dogs that were in the apartment. The dining room area.
And from the dining room, where are we heading down in the video?
This would be the kitchen. And it enters into a utility room.
What's the purpose of filming the refrigerator?
In this instance, with a child case, it's a little neglectful of showing food, and that they had adequate food and what was in the refrigerator.
Just to note, I paused it at 1:45. Now, where are we currently seeing right now?
This was a trash receptacle that was in the utility room. There was pee pads, clothing, various things in there that appeared to have vomit and things on them.
And where is the video heading now?
Now it's heading into the bedroom, which would have been the defendant's bedroom.
Okay, I'm going to pause at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. I see an exhibit marker. What is currently being marked?
These items were found in bags. They are hot, cold and hot pads, bruise creams, toothbrushes, petroleum jelly, various items that were purchased for those things.
And where were those bags found?
Those bags were on the bed in the bedroom.
Continue playing. I'm going to pause here at 2:26. What's being shown on the screen right now?
That was a receipt that was in the bag showing the time of the purchase of those items.
And can you read a date and time?
I believe the date on it is February the 7th, 2022 at 3:53 p.m.
Continue playing.
Yes.
Pause here at 2:44. What's currently being shown?
On the bedspread there, that's what appeared to be a vomit.
And is there anything else being shown?
Yes. If above that, those are bottles of Ensure.
Go ahead and pause it right here. Does the rest of this video show anything of note?
Not that I recall. No.
You also stated there was pictures, correct?
Correct.
Approach and show you what's been marked as states exhibits 87 through 91. If you could flip through these.
I've dedicated my life to saving animals and other pets, so when it comes to my own fur family, you can bet they get.
And do you recognize what's in these photographs?
Yes, correct. Those are photos of things we just viewed on the video.
And are they a true and accurate description of the crime scene as it appeared?
Yes, they are.
We would offer state exhibits 87 through 91.
No objection, Your Honor. States exhibits 87 through 91 are admitted without
Permission to
objection.
publish?
Granted.
Showing you it's been marked and admitted as states exhibit number 91. What is this photograph of?
It is a photograph of a mini fridge that was in the living room. There was a Ring camera as well as some of those pee pads that appeared to have vomit and had what appeared to be human hair in it.
As part of the duties that night, were these marked items, was that all collected into evidence?
Yes, it was.
Did you have any further duties to perform with this case?
No, I did not.
Was this the extent of your involvement?
Yes, once I completed this, I completed my supplement report and that ended my involvement in the case.
You can pass the witness.
Defense.
Good morning, sir. My name is Teresa Connolly.
Good morning.
Thank you. There's one thing that has been in my brain since I began on this case, and that is why you did go into the water heater, didn't you? Take apart the water heater
No, I did not.
at this apartment?
No, I did not.
Do you know if anybody?
You didn't take apart the water heater. That's the one thing that's on her mind. Really?
Exactly like what?
That we saw in the video,
Yes.
right? And there was no picture of the water heater taken.
Of
Not that I
all
recall.
of the things that are in that video and evidence that has been
There were no children that
put
resided
forward,
there.
she's asking about the fucking hot water
I
service.
have no idea if children resided there.
Well, in the beginning, you said that there were 3 people. Do you have any knowledge that there were children there?
This woman drives me
No.
crazy. And not in a good way.
And there are several pictures of vomit, excuse my grossness, but was any of it analyzed? Any DNA taken?
I'm sure that it was. That was not.
Not
What?
that you know.
I did not. I did not take care of that. So
All right. Thank you. Yes, the witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is this witness-
Why would you analyze the vomit when it was established that
Excuse me.
poisoning was not a cause of
All right,
death?
the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not
Just
allowed
saying.
to discuss your testimony with anyone. Only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense, and do not watch anything regarding this case.
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
State, call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor, we call Detective Justin Knox. Maybe, Your Honor?
Hmm? Yes.
All right, they have a little bench conference here. The next witness is Justin Knox from the San Antonio Police Department. He's in the digital forensics unit, and he is the one that downloaded and preserved all the digital data from Jose's phone. Looks a bit like Ned Kelly, a little bit of a cutie, I must say. So let's skip to that section. 111. There we go. And let me know what you think in the comments if you think he looks like Ned Kelly.
All right, please be seated.
Come on, give us some visual.
You are still under.
Go away, spinning wheel. Shoot. There we go.
All right. The objection will be a rule states exhibits 93 through 95 are admitted.
Oh,
Okay.
what did I miss?
So, as it relates to this cell phone that you did the extraction for,
Hang on, let's go back. There we go, that's better. This is the transcript of all the digital data that was on Jose's phone. All the images, text messages.
And defense, you can move about the well with the state.
I am handing you a number of exhibits at the moment. Let's see. First, we have State's Exhibit number 92 for identification
A
purposes
and B.
at this point. And inside, there is 92A and 92B.
Now that's
I'm
what an
also
organised
handing you
prosecution attorney looks like. Check out the table of the defence attorney when they pan back. She's holding it up like that so that the jury can't see. This is just to refresh his recollection because it hasn't been submitted into evidence yet.
93 through 97.
Do you think this woman looks like she knows what she's doing over here?
93 through, I'm sorry, 93, 94, 95. What are those exhibits?
Hello,
These
my
are
darling.
Pictures of when I had the cell phone for examination. I took a picture of the
Thank
front of
you
the
for
cell phone, back
watching.
of the cell phone, and the SIM card that was inside the cell phone
Where did you receive this cell phone?
at my office.
How did you receive
Oh,
this cell phone?
from the investigator that was investigating this case with a warrant and an intake.
Actually, Bree, you just triggered the reel of redaction. Reel of redaction is first in chat. I have to spin the wheel, and whatever word comes up on the wheel, I'm not allowed to say it. So if I spin the wheel and the word comes up and I actually say the word during the live stream, I have to be called out on it. So you have to type in the chat, bingo, in all caps, if I say the word, and then I have to spin it again and choose another word and not say that word for the rest of the live stream. So let's spin, shall we? Go. And today's word is witness. All right, let's add that to. There we go. So from now on, I'm not allowed to say the W word. Okay? If I do, you have to type in chat, all caps, bingo, to call me out. Okay? Let's do it. Come on. Play. Play.
Was that detective size?
Yes,
Was this a case involving the defendant, Jose Ruiz?
I believe so.
Was this a fair and accurate depiction of the cell phone as you received it?
Yes,
And what about Exhibit 95? What is that?
that is the SIM card.
Okay, and it's, did you have to do anything to the phone to take a picture of that?
So it's held within a little tray inside the phone, so I remove it, pull the tray out, pull the card out.
And this was a fair and accurate depiction of the SIM card that came from this phone?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd offer States Exhibit 93, 94, 95.
Defense.
Woodside is gearing up to start drilling right here at Scott Reef, home to endangered.
Objection as to relevance.
All right, the objection will be overruled. States Exhibits 93 through 95 are admitted.
Okay, so as it relates to this cell phone that you did the extraction for, what is States Exhibit 92, which includes 92A and 92B?
92A and 92B is my report of all the data or data that came out of the cell phone.
Okay. And what kind of data can be extracted from a cell phone?
Lots of data, anything that you would find in a cell phone: call logs, text messages, videos, images, application usage, location data, anything that you would generally find on a cell phone.
I'm also gonna hand you States Exhibit 81 for right now. Now, what is the program that you use to download a phone?
We use a program from a company called Celebrite. There's actually two programs through the entire process of the extraction. The first program we use, there's a couple of them, either Celebrite's UFED 4PC or Celebrite Premium. What we do with that software is we plug the cell phone into that software. It's a hardware device that has software with it. We plug it in, it communicates with the phone, and it will extract the data. Once the data is extracted, I take that data to another software called Celebrite Physical Analyzer, and that will decode all of that data and put it into a report that's usable and readable. Gives us all those text messages and images and things like that. So I use two different programs, just the acquisition and then the parsing and decoding of the data.
How long does it take to download a cell phone?
It entirely depends on the size, how big the phone is, how many images are on there. It could take 30 minutes to a couple hours.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to republish just a portion of States Exhibit number 76.
All right, and States Exhibit number 76 that has been previously admitted.
Yes.
All right. Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, I object.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Look at that part line. So straight.
I'm going to pause it just for a moment before we get too far ahead of ourselves with this. When you print off that report from Cellrite and do the download,
Yes.
is there certain device information that you can look at to find out potential owners or any kind of identifiers?
Yes. So it will download the device's unique ID. It will have the phone number attached to it, SIM cards there. It could have their Apple ID if it's an iPhone, the emails, things like that.
And what type of phone?
This is an iPhone.
think this is the audio recording back from the start with Christopher Lloyd, where he asks Jose his mobile phone number. So basically clarifying the phone number. And the audio is terrible. So and B-Linus, interrupt us again.
What's a good home address for you? 4618 Pencil, that's cool. 4618 and like pencil, Amazon, RD, that's, it's all good. Where's that at? Right down the northeast side, right behind Euro Stadium Road. Do you have a job right now? Yeah, just cut grass, cut grass. Do you have a cell phone? 210.
Do you think he looks like Ned Kelly a little bit? Very handsome, strong man. It's not a good picture.
Okay. I just stopped about 1 minute and 58 seconds into the state's exhibit number 76. Now, Detective Knox, we just heard Jose Ruiz testify in his statement say that his phone number was 210-612-1169. Is that the same number associated with that download?
Can I look through it?
Yes.
Yes.
And are you able to tell how long the phone has been active or when it was first initiated?
It will give you in this report will give you last time it was factory reset.
Okay. When was that?
9/25/2021.
So the phone was reset in September of
The
2021.
report indicates that the phone was factory reset.
Okay. So if it was factory reset, it was probably being used before then as well.
It's possible.
You also heard in that statement Jose Ruiz say you had it for, quote, a minute. That's slang, right?
Generally, yes.
And what does that generally mean?
Just a very short period of time.
Okay. Now, actually, I don't really need to see it. Can you set that up? Now, on that report, is it organized in any way?
Yes. It gives the device information, and then in this particular report, it includes everything that was tagged.
Is the device given a name in the system?
So the device name is Jose's phone.
Now, when it preserves the images in the phone, is there a way for you to compare the printed report to images and see that they are the same?
Yes.
Okay. Were you also able to look at this download on a computer before coming to court?
Yes.
Okay. When it preserves images, is there any kind of, I believe the term is metadata attached to an image?
So metadata is data about data. So metadata attached to images generally will be the type of camera used, its resolution, the phone, if it was used by phone, what version of the phone. So it's just data about that image.
Now, I did hand you a stack of exhibits. I do at this time. I ask that you keep them to yourself.
Okay.
They are not in evidence. However, I'm going to ask you to look at these and compare it to the report and see if the images that are marked of a certain exhibit were present in the download that you did of Jose Ruiz's phone. Okay. So if you can maybe keep it down. There you go.
Would you mind like going number by number or something like?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to go it. Okay. Do you have state's exhibit number 96 up there?
Yes. Okay, give me.
You've located it in the stack of photos.
In the stack of photos,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Is that an image that you found located in the cell phone download?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you able to refer to the report and tell us what the metadata indicates was the date and time that that was taken?
States Exhibit 96 on the phone shows that it was created on 1/21/2022 at 5:20 p.m.
Okay. Now going to States Exhibit 97.
That image from the phone indicates that it was created on 1/21/2022 at 4:44 p.m.
They say their dates funny in the US, so that's the 21st of January, 2022.
On 1/21/2022 at 4:44 p.m.
21st of January, 2022.
Actually, if we can go back, the seconds are also included. On States Exhibit number 96, that was 42 seconds, 5:20:42. I don't know if you want to get that.
Oh, it was 5:20 and
I think
42
you might be a little bit
seconds.
The second one is 4:44 and 18 seconds.
Okay, I'm not worried about the seconds.
Okay,
no.
then I won't include them in the next one either. Correct, both are PM.
I guess maybe your voice trails a little, or the microphone's not that.
Oh.
Appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll speak louder.
Turn
I'm
your
sorry.
hearing aids up, love. He speaks just fine.
Thank you. Speaking of microphones. Sorry.
He looks a little bit cheeky.
Okay, moving on to States Exhibit 98. Did you find that in the download?
Yes.
And what, according to the metadata, what date and time was that created?
1/22/2022 at 11:39 a.m.
So the next day, 22nd of January, 11:30 in the morning.
Okay. Moving
They're
on
just
to
going through
States
these dates
Exhibit
because that's
99.
the dates that Katrina was living with Jose.
I found that image. It is
Mercedes was there.
1/25/2022 at 2:02 a.m.
And particular injuries and incidents occurred on these specific days.
Okay. Now, moving on to States Exhibit 101.
none of the actual photos or videos gets admitted into evidence.
That image was
Previous
created
person.
2/22 at 9:20
So
p.m.
you probably don't really need to listen to. Much as I like to watch you, Justin, I don't think we need to listen to all the dates and
That
numbers.
image was created on
So
2/4/2022,
we shall move on to
12:24 a.m.
Katrina Mendoza. Okay.
Going on to State's Exhibit 103.
It is.
Now, just before we start this, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, I found Katrina's testimony very confronting. But I had to remember that she fell pregnant at 14 and had Jordan when she was 15, and then had Mercedes when she was 16. So she was 21 at the time of the incident and 23 at the time of this trial. So she comes across as very naive, very immature, but particularly cold, unemotional. So let me know what you think in the comments. But this is the mother of the victim, the 5-year-old victim, Mercedes Victoria Losoya. This is an important testimony to hear. Go away, spinny wheel. I've connected you through the cable. Stop it.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. You need to keep your voice up so that the members of the jury and the court reporter can hear. I'll state your name for the record.
Katrina Rose Mendoza.
State.
Ms. Mendoza, are you also a defendant charged in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you accepted a plea agreement as part of that charge?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that plea agreement? Can you explain it to the jury?
A cap of 45 and with the testimony and possibility of probation.
Okay. And
So
do you remember what the state?
they have just gone through. Katrina accepted a plea deal with the prosecution, so she is capped. Her sentence is capped at 45 years, and she has to testify truthfully in this hearing. That was part of the deal.
Position is on your application for probation?
They're not for it.
And is it part of that plea agreement that you are to tell the truth here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any children?
That'll be overruled.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
2.
What are their names?
Jordan Mercedes.
So Jordan and Mercedes?
Yes.
Okay. And how old is Jordan?
She's 8.
How old were you when you had Jordan?
I was pregnant at 14, had her at 15.
How much, I'm sorry, is Jordan older than Mercedes?
Yes.
How much older?
A couple of months.
Do you know how many?
Like 8, I think.
Okay. And how old was Mercedes?
She was 5.
Over the course of Mercedes and Jordan's lives, have you had CPS cases?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
I'm not sure.
More than one?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about those. Can you remember the first time CPS was involved with you and your children?
I think I was maybe like 16.
Okay.
At that point in time, I don't think I asked you, how old were you when you had Mercedes?
I was 15. I was pregnant at 15, had her at 16.
Okay, so this first time you just said you think you were 16. Was Mercedes alive at that time?
Yeah, she was probably a couple months old.
Why was CPS involved at that point?
Somebody had made allegations of neglect.
So from the time Mercedes was a couple months old, CPS was
I can't
involved.
remember.
Okay. And what happened with that CPS case?
It got closed.
Were Jordan and Mercedes removed from your care at that point?
Yes, because I was still a minor.
Okay. How long were they removed from your care?
I can't remember.
Do you know who had custody of them while they weren't in your care?
They were with a foster family for a couple of weeks.
When was the next time CPS was involved in your life?
I can't remember.
Okay. Do you remember how old the girls were?
Maybe like 2 and 1.
Okay. And why were they involved at that point?
Because the same reasons. Neglect.
Okay. And what did CPS do at that time?
They just put a safety plan with me and my dad, and we had joint custody of them.
Okay. At that time, could you be alone with the girls?
No.
Was that case closed out?
Yes.
Were the girls ever removed from you with and your father?
No.
Was there another time CPS was involved in your life?
Yes.
When was that?
I can't remember.
Okay. Do you remember how old the girls were or anything about that time period?
No. I think maybe Mercedes was 3 and Jordan was 4.
Okay. And what was their
Her answers all the way through are very, very vague.
We had made a CPS report because I had a babysitter and they sent me a picture of a slap mark on Mercedes' back, and we reported it.
Oh, so she had Mercedes babysat with a slap
my
mark
dad.
came back, and she reported that to CPS.
And what
But
happened with that case?
It got closed out.
Were the girls ever removed from your care at that point?
No.
Was there another time that CPS was?
She didn't report Jose for any of the
Yes.
abuse to CPS.
About 2 years ago.
Okay. Was Mercedes still alive at that time?
Yes.
Why were they involved in your life at that point?
Because somebody made allegations of some kind.
Do you know what the allegations were?
No, I forgot.
Were there allegations that you were abusing the girls?
Yes.
What was going on with that CPS case?
It was opened and it was gonna get closed. It only lasted about like 2 weeks, but I had lost contact with the CPS caseworker, and yeah, so I never got closed out.
Okay. How do you know that it was going to get closed out?
Because they told me that they just needed to see the girls one more.
Sustained.
So there was an open CPS or Child Protective Services case.
Did CPS ever remove Jordan or Mercedes from
Whilst
your care at that point in time?
No.
in the January
What year was that, just to be clear?
of 2022,
Okay. And
there was a
I
case
wanna
open
make sure- are
at
you
the
sure
time
about that?
of the incident.
Okay, so if do you remember what day it was when Mercedes passed?
March. No. Yeah, March the 7th.
She gets the date wrong.
It was February
How can you
There
get?
you go, February 7th. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny, is it?
And do you
How can you get the date of your child's death wrong
2022.
Okay, so if Mercedes
and then
passed
laugh?
February 7th of 2022, when do you think it was that
Sorry,
CPS was?
I have opinions. My bad.
What year was it that CPS was last?
2022.
Yeah, Chuck.
Yes.
Do you remember the last time CPS saw Mercedes alive?
Maybe about 2 weeks before she passed away.
Okay, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 109.
Yes, that was the last time.
Okay, before you say that, I gotta ask you a question. Is this a picture of Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Was this taken the last day that CPS saw Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what Mercedes looked like on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 109.
Any objections? No objection, Your Honor. What State's Exhibit 109 is admitted? State's Exhibit 109 is admitted without objection.
So these are all of the photos that they went through with the previous witness, Justin Knox, and identified the
Was that
exhibit numbers. So
Mercedes
they're
on that
now
day?
submitting
Yes,
them into
ma'am.
evidence. Oh, look at her.
Did Mercedes have any injuries on that day?
No.
Can you tell the jury about Mercedes?
She was 5 years old. She was my youngest daughter. She was very smart and beautiful. She was a very outgoing kid. She liked to have a lot of fun. She liked to dance. She liked to sing. She liked to be on TikTok. She was very close with her
What
sister
was she on
Jordan.
TikTok for? 5 years old.
Was Mercedes disobedient?
Huh?
Was she disobedient?
Sometimes every kid is.
How would she be disobedient?
Sometimes I'll tell her to do something and she wouldn't do it, or sometimes she'll talk back, or
Just like every 5-year-old.
yeah.
How would you punish Mercedes when she wouldn't listen?
I usually put her in timeout.
Can you describe timeout to the jury?
Just facing the wall without talking or playing with anything.
Okay. What else would you do to discipline Mercedes?
Spank her with the belt
Okay. Where would you spank her with the belt?
on her butt.
Hold on, please. Do you need water?
Spank her with a belt on her butt.
You may ask your question.
Would you do anything else to discipline Mercedes?
No.
Did you favor Jordan over Mercedes?
Yes,
Okay. Why is that?
because she was my firstborn. I was really close to Jordan, and I mean I love Mercedes too, but I was really
In your
close to Jordan.
favor. One child over another.
Close to Mercedes?
There was a conflict. Like people would try to get in between my relationship with my daughter, and
Well,
it was a.
you
it
don't
was
let
a,
them.
How can I say?
Speaking
like,
from a mother of two
a hard time to
beautiful
get
young
that
women,
bond.
myself. I love you both equally. You're both
Would
perfect,
you
just
treat
the way you
Jordan
are.
differently than Mercedes?
No,
Would you punish them differently?
no,
So if someone were to have said that you did punish them differently, would they be lying?
yes.
In 2021, who were you living with?
My godfather,
What's his name?
Homero Beltran,
Who else lived in that house?
Angelica Edwards, Rodney Edwards, Jeremiah Beltran, Jesse Beltran, Priscilla Vasquez, Dalen
So this is
Vasquez.
before she moved in with Jose. She was living with her
That's it.
Were the girls also
godfather
living-
Oh
and
yes, sorry, and my
her
girls.
family.
Okay. And Who are all those people that you listed?
They're my god family. They're not related to me by blood, but they raised me since I was 2 weeks old.
And did you live with them since you were 2 weeks old?
No, when I was younger, I lived with them on and off. My parents would switch with them, but I guess I moved in with them permanently when I was 18 years old or 19.
Did you live with them when the girls were young?
No. Yes. Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Is it fair to say you lived with them off and on?
Yes.
Do you know Jose Ruiz?
Yes.
Do you see him here in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you identify him by something that he's wearing?
Gray slacks.
Okay, let the record reflect she's identified the defendant, Jose Ruiz. How do you know him?
He's my ex-boyfriend.
When did you meet him?
In 2020.
How did you meet him?
I was at work and I met him
Okay, where were you working?
at Diamond Show Club.
Diamond Show Club.
Did you start dating right away?
Yes.
How soon into your relationship did he meet Jordan and Mercedes?
I can't remember.
Was it right away or did you wait some time?
It was maybe a couple months.
Okay. Once he met the girls, how often would he see the girls?
Often.
Did the girls ever call him dad or daddy?
Yes.
Do you know when they started calling him that?
I can't remember.
Had it been some time in your relationship?
Yes.
Did you ever live with Jose Ruiz?
Yes.
When did you live with him?
Like in 2022. I can't remember.
Did you live with him consistently or off and on?
Off and on.
If there were neighbors who testified that they saw you and the girls there in November of 2021, would that be accurate?
Your Honor, objection to leading evidence.
Did you live there in November of 2021?
Yes.
Do you remember how long you lived there?
We would stay there a couple of nights, but like when I moved in, I moved in for about 3 weeks.
When was that?
Like in November of 2023? No, 2022.
November of 2022.
Try 2021.
You're describing 7 months after Mercedes passed?
Oh, sorry. I'm confused right now. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you another question. The 3 weeks that you said you lived with Jose consistently, was that the 3 weeks before Mercedes died?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to those 3 weeks, did Jose ever discipline Mercedes and Jordan?
Yes, ma'am.
How often would he discipline the girls?
Often.
How would he discipline the girls?
He would spank them. He would pull Mercedes' hair and cover her mouth and nose. Use thumbtacks on her feet.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you real quick. I want to focus on not the last 3 weeks, but before that. Did that all that happen before those last 3 weeks, or?
No, so it all started with just like timeout, and then timeout with rice on the floor, and they would bend on the rice, making her stay up all night.
Objection, Your Honor, I read the time frame on this. When did these things?
All right, that'll be overruled. Ask your next question.
That's just torture,
Um,
cruel torture.
would the punishment from Jose get, or did the punishment from Jose get progressively worse throughout your relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So leave.
At some point while you're living with Homer Beltran, did you ask Jose for help in disciplining Mercedes?
Yes.
What did Jose say?
That he was gonna pick her up and take her with him for the day.
Did that happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go with him?
No, ma'am.
Did Jordan go with him?
No, ma'am.
How long did he have Mercedes without you being present?
A couple of hours.
Okay. Was it
Over.
overnight?
Yeah, overnight.
Couple of hours
During
or
that time
overnight,
period, did
which
you
is it?
talk to Jose?
Yes.
How did you talk to Jose?
Over the phone.
Did you ever talk to him other than just on the phone?
Yes, one night, the night that he picked her up, he came to get a backpack of clothes, and I s-
Objection, when did this happen? Not established.
Do you remember when this was?
no.
Do you remember how long it was before Mercedes passed?
No.
On that night that he had Mercedes, did you communicate other than through a phone call?
Yes.
How?
In person.
Okay. Did you communicate through text or video chat?
Yes.
Which one?
Both.
Did you see that night?
Objection, Your Honor, we're talking about a night. In the span of how many months or years? This is totally vague. Objection as to vagueness.
Right, that would be sustained.
Your Honor, objecting to any photographs? Is this the appropriate time, Your Honor?
No, she needs to offer them first through this witness, and then I'll hear your objections, if there are any objections.
Katrina, were you sent any photographs of Mercedes by Jose?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked States Exhibit 97. Is this a photograph that Jose sent you?
Yes.
Okay.
This is why it was important that
If
they
there was
went through
testimony that this happened on January
previous
22nd,
witness,
2022. Does that sound accurate to you?
the
Yes.
dates and the times, because her testimony is so vague and her recollection is so vague.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of how Mercedes looked in the photo you were
It
sent?
then establishes
Yes,
the
ma'am.
timeline.
State moves to admit States Exhibit 97.
Objection.
I believe they don't. No. By the time she gets there, the trial will be over. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's free. And ring that little bell. That will give you a notification every time I upload a new video or go live. The court turns down all the audio when they have a bench conference. Now, the defense attorney is objecting to vagueness. So, can we object to her questioning them about disassembling a water heater or analyze. Don't get me started. If you're not up for it, don't do it. If you go over to Judge Boyd's YouTube channel, she streams live every day, and she does dockets for all sorts of things, but she also has jury trials scattered throughout as well. So she goes and streams everything from pre-trial motions to jury selection to the whole. That's how I found this case. I was watching her docket for the day, and this particular defense attorney came up and asked some ridiculous questions, and I followed her to this case and started watching it.
Katrina, the
And here we
Exhibit
are.
97 that I just showed you, was there a video chat and video sent to you that depicted the same activities that were in the photos of State's Exhibit 97?
Yes.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 108. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
I remember signing and dating it.
Okay. Are those your initials and the date that you watched it?
Yes.
And you reviewed it prior to coming here today?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw Mercedes doing in that video?
Yes.
So Jose took video recordings and sent it to Katrina whilst Mercedes was in his care.
Next question.
Yes, I'm sorry. How long until you saw Mercedes again?
The next day.
And what happened when you saw Mercedes again?
She was drenched in some kind of water or beverage.
Did Jose tell you what happened?
He said that she wouldn't stop crying, so he threw water on her.
Did you observe any injuries on Mercedes?
Not at that very moment.
Okay.
I apologize for this, Walker. All right, please. Ask your next question, counsel.
Katrina, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 96. Do you recognize this image?
Yes, ma'am.
Was this an image of Mercedes on that same night?
Yes.
Objection as to the reading. Overruled.
How did you receive this photo?
Through a text message.
Who sent that text message to you?
Jose Ruiz.
Did you observe injuries on Mercedes when you saw her again?
No.
Was there something that occurred that caused you concern regarding Mercedes having injuries?
Like I said,
No foundation as to the injuries. Just that you saw them.
Overruled.
So not right away, but when we got to the apartment, I put her pants down and she had bruising in her thighs.
Why did you pull her pants down?
She needed to go to the restroom.
Okay. Describe this bruising on her inner thighs.
It was swollen, purple, almost black.
Was it small bruising, a lot of bruising?
A lot of bruising.
Did you confront Jose regarding this bruising?
Yes.
What did Jose tell you?
He said he didn't He said that he didn't realize how hard he was pinching her and that he wouldn't do it again.
I call bullshit. You see one bruise, you know how hard you're fucking doing it. There was more than one.
Where was the apartment?
How would you like it?
I can't remember. I know the name.
Okay, what was the name?
Henry B. Apartments.
When you went over there at this point in time, was that when you started staying with Jose consistently?
Yes.
And how long were you there prior to Mercedes' death?
Before her death?
Yeah.
Like I said, we were staying in and out with him.
Okay, but you just said you were there consistently. How long consistently before she died?
Oh, about 3 weeks.
Okay. During this time period, would Jose continue to punish Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would he punish her? What were some things she would do that would cause him to punish her?
Little things like playing with her fingers in timeout, touching things in timeout, not holding up an object, sitting on her legs when she got tired, talk.
And Judge, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna object. I believe this is Ms. Connolly's witness. I
Yeah.
object to.
You may continue your answer.
What was the question again?
How would Jose punish Mercedes?
How would he punish her? Or why?
I thought that was why he was punishing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It was why he would punish her.
Because she wouldn't like say her ABCs or say the numbers right or like repeat what he was saying correctly or answer him in a
Oh, that's
correct
shocking.
way.
Terrible behavior.
There's no foundation for this. I mean, all of a sudden numbers come up.
All right. Ask your next question.
How was Mercedes potty trained?
Yes.
Would she ever have accidents?
Yes.
How often?
For those 3 weeks, very often.
What about prior to those 3 weeks?
No, she wouldn't have accidents.
Do you know why she was having accidents?
I believe she was scared.
How would Jose punish?
You think?
Objection asked and answered, Your Honor.
I can answer.
Yes.
Okay. He would pull her hair. He would spank her with the belt. He would use the metal part of the belt. He would hold her breath by covering her mouth and her nose. He would pull her hair out. He would
And you let him.
He would not let her eat certain foods or have a certain drink. He would keep her standing up for hours at a time. He would sleep deprive her. That's all I can think about right now.
Oh, that's all?
You mentioned that he would cover her mouth and nose. Was there ever a time?
What about the
where
thumbtacks?
she became unconscious due to this?
Yes.
What happened?
He just covered her mouth and her nose and let her go, and her body fell to the floor.
What had to be done because of that?
Had to blow. Well, he had to blow in her mouth like CPR.
Was she standing or laying down when he did that?
With the CPR.
No, covering her mouth.
Come here. Come here. She wasn't standing or laying down. He was like carrying her.
How many times did that happen where Mercedes went unconscious because of that?
About 2 times.
Was there ever a time where Mercedes would do that to herself and hold her own breath?
Yes.
Would that ever cause her to go unconscious?
No.
That was elegant.
Earlier you mentioned thumbtacks. Tell me about the thumbtacks.
Yeah, that started because when Mercedes was in timeout, she'll be on her knees and she would get tired of being on her knees. So she would put her butt on her legs. And in order for her to stop doing that, Jose put thumbtacks in her feet.
I want you to explain that a little
I'd love to
more.
do the same to him.
Thumbtacks in her feet. How long did they stay there?
For hours.
Did he put thumbtacks anywhere else on her body?
On her butt.
Oh.
How many thumbtacks?
At a time?
Yes.
Maybe like 4 or 5.
Would he ever make her stand on thumbtacks?
Yes.
Oh.
Tell me more about timeout. What would he have her do while she was in timeout?
Sometimes he would have her hold her arms like this, or hold an object, or kneel on rice.
Was there ever a time when Mercedes wouldn't do those things while she was in timeout?
Yes.
What would happen if she didn't do those things?
He would pull her hair, or hit her hands with the phone, or her feet with the phone.
What phone are you talking about?
His iPhone.
Was there ever anything done to Mercedes' arms if she would not keep them up in the air?
Yes, he tied like a thin pole to her arms, and like wrapped it around the pole.
How long would Jose have her wrapped to a pole?
For hours at a time.
When she was wrapped to a pole, would she have clothes on?
Sometimes.
Would she ever be naked?
Yes.
Did he ever put anything over her head?
I wish part of the punishment phase for people like this was to be subjected to exactly what they did.
Next question.
Yes, Judge. Would Mercedes ever bleed from her injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ever have any scabs?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Jose have a ring camera?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he do with the ring camera?
He would put it to watch her in the closet.
Okay. Why would she be in the closet?
To be secluded as a timeout.
Who would put her in the closet?
So they
Jose.
put her in the closet. That's why the neighbour could hear through the bedroom wall, particularly in the closet.
Did you ever try to stop Jose from doing these things to Mercedes?
And then he'd put the ring
Yes.
camera in there so that he could see what she was up to in there.
Several.
Did he listen to you?
No.
Let's talk about how you disciplined Mercedes while at Jose's house. What are some of the things that you would do to Mercedes?
Yeah, you.
I would spank her with the belt. I pulled her hair. I put her in timeout. That's it.
Okay. You mentioned pulling her hair, and I believe you mentioned Jose pulling her hair out. Were you also pulling her hair out of her head?
No.
Was anyone else pulling Mercedes' hair out of her
Yeah,
head?
listen to this.
Jordan.
Why would Jordan do that?
Because Jose would tell her to.
He told her older sister to do it to her.
Because Jose told her to.
Can you make sure to speak into the microphone so everyone can hear you?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You mentioned you would also put Mercedes in timeout. How would you put Mercedes in timeout?
I would put her in the corner of like the wall and have her face the wall with her hands behind her back.
Did you ever have her kneel on rice?
No.
Never.
Maybe once or twice.
Okay. Did you ever put Mercedes in the closet for timeout?
Yes.
How many times?
Maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Did you ever have Mercedes hold an item up in the air while she was in timeout?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
Not such a good idea now, huh?
Did you ever put thumbtacks in Mercedes?
No.
Did you observe Mercedes to have injuries, marks, bruises from all of the things that y'all were doing to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Jose ever tell you to chill while disciplining Mercedes?
No.
Would Jose say anything to you about your discipline of Mercedes?
No.
Do you recall saying that Jose would say that you weren't disciplining Mercedes enough?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Yes, ma'am.
In leading God. As to leading God, what he's saying.
What would Jose say to you regarding your discipline of Mercedes?
That I wasn't hard on her enough and that she didn't respect me because I let her walk all over me and do whatever she wanted.
Did Jose ever make Jordan do anything else to Mercedes besides pull her hair?
Objection to leading question. You can answer the question.
I can't remember.
Did Jose have any animals?
Yes.
What did he have?
2 pit bulls.
Did anything ever happen to Mercedes' teeth?
Yes.
What happened to her teeth?
They fell out.
Okay. How did they fall out?
From my assumption, I think they fell out because
You can't assume.
Did you ever see anything done to Mercedes' mouth?
yes.
What did you see?
Jose would stick her underwear or a sock or some like clothing in her mouth and then pull it out really quickly
And why would he put a sock or clothing in her mouth?
because she would cry.
What would Jose do when Mercedes would have an accident?
He would like mop the floor with her in her urine.
What do you mean by that?
He would get her on the ground and just
Use her
drag
like
her in her urine.
fucking mop.
Did he do anything with her clothing after she would have an accident?
He would put it in her mouth.
How about we do that to you? Yeah, you.
The injuries that you said you saw in Mercedes, was anything ever done by you or Jose to treat those injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
What was done?
He would buy her like little cooling pads, the hot and cold cooling pads, and put them on her bruises. Or he would buy Neosporin.
The stuff that was laid out on
for
his
her
bed
cuts,
through the
or he would
video that came through before.
buy something that like causes the bruises to go away, and just stuff like that.
Hide the evidence.
And when he would put those things on her, can you describe that to the jury? Let me ask a different different question?
Yeah.
Okay. Would he put those on one part of her body, a lot of her body?
Well, everywhere that she had bruises, and she was bruised up pretty much everywhere on her body.
Why were y'all doing that?
I wanted her to heal and get better.
Then you should have taken her away.
People seeing the bruises on Mercedes?
Yes, but that wasn't the priority.
I'm sorry, what was that answer?
That wasn't the priority.
And what was?
What was the priority?
Yeah.
To get her better. So that we can leave.
Well, that ain't going to happen until you leave, love.
Earlier,
Obviously.
about CPS having an open case was still open at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have concerns about CPS seeing Mercedes in her condition?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you afraid that they were going to take away your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Next question.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Exhibit 98. Is that a picture of Mercedes and some of the things that we just described happening by Jose?
Yes, ma'am.
99, a photo of Mercedes' condition around that same time period that you were living with Jose Ruiz.
Yes, ma'am.
States Exhibit 100. Is this a photo of Jose's dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
What's in States Exhibit 101?
Mercedes is eating some food with the bandages wrapped around her body.
Are those the bandages that you just described to the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Is States Exhibit 102 and 103 additional photos of Mercedes' condition during that time period?
Yes, ma'am.
States Exhibit 104, without telling me what you see, just what was this picture captured on? Do you know?
A ring camera.
Okay. In this picture, can you tell where it's taken, what the location is?
Yes, ma'am.
No, she's just asking where it was taken.
Correct. How can you tell where it was taken?
I just recognize it.
What causes you to recognize it?
The floor.
Okay. Where is the location it was taken?
In the closet.
Of what location?
Of the apartment, Henry B. Apartments.
Whose apartment was that?
Jose's.
105, States 105, and no, States 105. Is this a picture of some of the items that you would treat Mercedes with?
Yes, ma'am.
You see a hand in that photo. Whose hand is that?
Jose's.
All right, you're gonna have to make sure you speak up, and you can remain seated when you make your objection so the court reporter can hear. And please make sure you speak at the microphone. All right, with regards to that objection, it will be sustained. Lay the foundation, please.
Yes, Judge. Are all of these fair and accurate depictions of items you saw while at Jose Ruiz's or Mercedes' condition while you are at Jose Ruiz's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, one more. States Exhibit 107. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this also something that you described happening to Mercedes by Jose Ruiz?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
Do you recognize the location in this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Where was it?
Can I see what can I believe that's on the floor of the room.
I'm sorry. Whose apartment?
Jose's.
going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 81. Is this also behavior you described already being done by Jose Ruiz to Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize the location of this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose apartment was this taken in?
Jose's.
Did you take these photos that I've showed you?
No, ma'am.
States Exhibit 109. Who's in that photo?
Jose Ruiz.
At this time, state would move to admit. I'm so sorry. Let me get you the numbers. States 96, 97.
You want to make sure that they're here?
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to put them in order. I apologize. Let me just have 1 second.
Thank you.
When you finish, you will start approaching for your objections.
Okay, states 96 through states 109.
Just skip the part.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Durant, I
While
can't.
they're on
Sorry,
break.
you need to speak up.
And that's without waiving what had been previously urged.
The defense counsel has said that she has no objections to State's
To the
Exhibit.
admission, Your Honor, is what I said. To the admission. Not to the content.
Mr. Big Tough Guy.
State's Exhibits 96 through 110
You're
are.
right. I want to be clear. There's no intention to waive any previously urged objection.
That's correct, Your Honor. This is only to the admission of the evidence by the state right now.
It's subject to prior.
Subject to prior objections and the running objections that we have.
All right, State's Exhibit 96 through 110 are admitted. And for the record, the court has reviewed State's Exhibits 96 through 110. And if there was an objection to probative value, the court is finding that it is more probative than prejudicial. And that's as it relates to State's Exhibits 96 and 110. And the court is finding that State's Exhibits 96 through 110 is relevant. You may publish.
Katrina, what are we looking at in States Exhibit 109?
A picture of Jose.
And in the picture, we see him wearing rings. Would he wear those rings all the time?
Yes.
And
Trying to be all gangster and all that.
No.
Okay.
Not a gangster.
States
You're a
Exhibit-
fucking coward.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna start with States Exhibit 97.
And a bully.
Oh. Okay. What are we looking at here?
A picture of Mercedes holding looks like a jug of something.
How do you know that that's Mercedes?
Because of the clothes she's wearing.
Okay. Was this a photo that was sent to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Who sent this photo to you?
Jose.
Do you remember what day he sent that to you?
Sometime in January
Of what year?
2022.
Okay. Was this the day that Jose took custody of Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection to characterization of custody, taking custody of Mercedes.
Sustained.
In State's Exhibit 97, is who's with Mercedes?
Jose.
Is anyone else with Mercedes?
No.
State's Exhibit 96. What are we looking at here?
A picture of Mercedes.
Okay. Have you how did you get this photo?
I don't remember that photo.
Can you tell, is she wearing the same shirt
Yes.
that she's wearing in States 97?
Yes.
States Exhibit 98. What are we looking at here?
A picture of Mercedes.
What is she doing?
She's in the shower with something in her mouth.
What is in her mouth?
Clothing.
You know what kind of clothing that is?
Her underwear and her shorts.
Why would this happen to Mercedes?
Because she would be crying, or maybe at that time she had made an accident on herself.
Did you do this to Mercedes?
No, ma'am.
Did you take this photo?
No, ma'am.
States Exhibit 99.
So he sent
Who
you
did that
these
picture?
photos and
Mercedes.
you did nothing. Did you go and get her?
Who did that to Mercedes' hair?
Objection. What's the objection? As soon as a fact not in evidence, it hasn't been established.
Did you even send him a text message?
Who did that to Mercedes' hair?
Jose.
Did anyone else do that to Mercedes' hair?
Jordan.
Did you take this photo?
No, ma'am.
States Exhibit 100. What is in this photo?
The dogs.
Whose dogs?
Jose's dogs.
States Exhibit 101. Who is that?
Mercedes.
What is on her body?
The hot and cold patches
And where on her body are those hot and cold patches?
on her face and her arms.
Who else is in that photo? Can you tell?
No.
Did you take this photo?
No, ma'am.
Who did that to Mercedes?
I bandaged her up.
You put those bandages on her?
Yes.
Are those bandages indicative of everywhere she had bruises on her body?
Yes.
States Exhibit 102. What are we looking at here?
Mercedes' mouth.
And what happened to Mercedes' mouth?
She's missing teeth.
What else do we see on Mercedes' face?
Jose's fingers.
On her face?
A
Does she have any
bloody-
other injuries?
Bloody nose.
Okay. What else?
It looks like she has some bruises on her face.
Who caused those injuries to Mercedes' face?
Jose Ruiz.
Did you cause any of those injuries to Mercedes' face?
No.
Did you take this photo?
No.
States Exhibit 103. Can you see those bruises on Mercedes' face more clearly in this picture?
Yes, ma'am.
What about Mercedes' hair?
Does that not upset you?
What's going on with her hair in this picture?
It looks like she's losing some.
These pictures we've been showing so far, what time period were they taken in?
The 3 weeks before Mercedes passed away.
How can you look at your own child like that in that condition
The
and
3
not
weeks before
show any
Mercedes passed
emotion?
away.
States 104. What are we looking at in this photo?
Mercedes standing on thumbtacks.
How do you know that that is Mercedes?
Because I can tell by her legs.
How many children were living in the house at the time?
Just Jordan and Mercedes.
Did Jordan ever have to stand on thumbtacks?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I don't know.
Was Jordan a good child?
No, Jordan's bad sometimes too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back to 104. How many thumbtacks are in that photo? Can you see?
Looks like 4.
Who had Mercedes standing on thumbtacks?
Jose.
And how was this picture captured?
I don't know what's worse
I'm
with
sorry?
the
How
fact
was
that
it
he
captured? How was
actually
it taken?
did
By
that,
the ring camera
Do you know where in the
Or
apartment
the-
this was?
in the
the
closet.
fact that he took photos that he
Um,
did that, allegedly.
States 105. What are we looking at here?
The cold and hot pads.
Okay. Who purchased these cold and hot pads?
Jose.
How many times were they purchased in those 3 weeks?
Many times.
How many?
Many.
Maybe what?
Many.
Many.
States 107. What are we looking at here?
Mercedes bending down.
Okay. What's going on with Mercedes' arms in this photo?
They look like they're wrapped in the pole that I was telling you about.
Can you describe this pole to the jury, please?
It was a thin pole about this long.
Did it have another purpose or was it just a pole?
It was so that she wouldn't mess with the bandages.
Whose feet are in this picture?
Jose's.
Did you take this picture?
No, ma'am.
Does Mercedes have any clothing on in this picture?
No, ma'am.
Where were you when this is happening?
I'm not sure.
Not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. You're her mother.
I'm showing you States Exhibit 81.
You are just as responsible, if not more.
And am I okay to proceed with the as we discuss?
We'd like to see the, you can walk, okay.
Judge, usually when the state shows a picture, they pass it to the table first.
This has been previously tendered to defense.
Right, and just
Hundreds
one
of
second.
pictures here.
Stop. Just 1 second. So the record is clear. When the state says, can we do this as we discuss? That was a discussion that was had with both the state and the defense attorneys. And I just want the record to be clear with that. All right, would you show defense counsel the exhibit?
Yes, Judge.
For the record, Your Honor, my memory doesn't include every single item that we looked at. I know I've seen it, but it would help to refresh it again since it's relevant now.
If you can't remember,
Objection, this is a point of
you
reference
shouldn't
photograph.
be doing the
Child
job.
Has no clothing on at all, and every part of her body can be seen from the front. Objection,
Now
this
she's
is
objecting to the
Counsel,
photos
this
being
was
pornographic.
the photograph that was discussed. If you all can approach.
Your Honor, that my
Approach.
objection was for the record.
Approach.
Judge Boyd's losing her cool now. And I don't blame her. They've already discussed this, the last bench. Yeah. See how long this one goes for.
Okay. Keeping in mind what's on the screen, States Exhibit 107, I'm going to show you States Exhibit 81. Okay. I want you to look specifically, what are some things you see on the floor of this photo?
The sweeper jet mop, a shoe, and I don't know what that other thing is.
Okay. Now look at States Exhibit 107. Are those the same things on the floor in that picture as in States Exhibit 81?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell the jury who is in this photo?
Mercedes.
Okay. Describe what Mercedes is doing.
She's standing naked with the pole tied to her arms. And something covering her face, the clothing covering her face.
Okay. And in what position are her arms?
In a crucifix.
Did you see things like this happen to Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did things like this to Mercedes?
Jose.
The dogs that we showed you in State's Exhibit 100, would they ever go to the bathroom in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Was anything ever done with dog feces
Oh, don't.
to Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
What was done?
Jose had put dog feces on her face.
Is this something that you saw happen?
I didn't see it happen, but I saw it afterwards. After
Oh.
that it happened.
Is this what Mercedes looked like when you saw her with dog feces on her face?
Yes, ma'am.
What day did this happen? Do you remember?
No.
Did something else happen this day that helps you remember what day it was?
Not that I remember, but I remember we left that day.
Oh, it took that for you to leave, did it?
I'm going to show you I'm going to just put on the screen what's been previously entered as State's Exhibit 93. Do you know whose phone that is?
That's where you
Who
drew
says?
the line. I know where I'd like to draw a line. And not with a pencil.
Judge May published 108.
Just a moment before we publish 108. Would you all like to take your break now, or do you wish to continue? Break. All right, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to have you all
Right,
back.
so they're going to take a break. We shall skip through
Deliberating internally or with each other.
and continue with the testimony.
That you've seen with anyone else.
There. Absolutely disgusting. I'm just disgusted.
Thank you, Judge. And I think where we
There
left
is-
off is
there are no
asking
words.
for permission to publish 108. All right, and that will be granted. Thank you, Judge.
Subject to our prior objections.
Yes.
And for the record, it's image 3291 on the disc. Thank you.
I hate myself.
Pick it up. Now.
I know myself.
Pick it up, Mercedes.
You mad myself.
Pick it up.
Yes, even you mad me mad.
Yeah, I'm mad at you.
This is not this me.
Not a tear.
I know I'm mad at me.
Nothing.
What?
Because I'm not listening.
Oh, that's a
And I'm
no-brainer.
not picking my hands up.
That's a no-brainer.
Why? Oh, I'm trying to pick it up. I promise you I'm
Yeah, I hang your head too.
What do you mean you're trying? You're not trying. Pick it up.
It's heavy for me.
No, it's not. It's not even heavy at all. Nothing. Pick it up. Yeah, I know. It is full. Pick it up. Pick it up.
You cruel fucker.
That's what I'm doing. They're picking me
Pick it up. Pick it up.
I'm mad at myself. I'm honest. This is my masterpiece.
That's your masterpiece?
I'm mad at myself.
That's your masterpiece?
Yeah, you just turned your head.
Next question.
Yes. Katrina, who all lived at the Henry B apartment with Jose?
Jose, Rocco, Ruben, and Snyder, and me, Jordan, and Mercedes.
Who are Rocco, Ruben, and Snyder?
Those are Jose's brothers and sisters.
Who all saw the abuse Mercedes endured?
All of them that lived in the household.
All of them?
Did they all live there? I'm sorry, did Jose's siblings live there full time?
Thought
For
he
a
only
while,
moved
yes.
with them that weekend. The brother and the two brothers. He was in the process of moving, they said.
What we just watched with Jose making Mercedes hold items, the jug full up in the air. When you say he would make her hold items up, was it always something similar to that?
Yes.
How long would he make her hold something up in the air?
Objection. The witness testified she wasn't even in the car.
All right. If you can answer the question, if you know.
Several hours.
What would Jose say about Mercedes holding her hands or items up in the air?
That she wasn't doing it right.
Did Jose say anything about Mercedes' muscles?
He said it was building her muscles.
Did police ever come out to the apartment?
Yes.
Do you know how many times?
No.
Was there a time that you talked to police yourself?
Yes.
What happened that day?
Jose and me were getting after Mercedes, and the police showed up, and I went outside and I told them that everything was okay.
What do you mean by getting after Mercedes?
There was a lot of screaming and yelling.
What about physical abuse to Mercedes?
That day, no.
Was there another time that police were called out to your apartment?
No. Not that. Yes, but I didn't talk to them.
Okay. What happened that day?
I don't remember.
When the police came to the apartment, did anyone answer the door?
Jose did.
Was there another time that police came out to the apartment?
I can't remember.
Was there a time that police came out to the apartment where no one answered the door?
Yes.
What happened that day?
I can't remember.
Why was the door not answered for police?
Because
She says she can't remember. Either she remembers and she's gonna answer, or she doesn't remember.
Objection will be sustained.
Okay. Katrina, when's your birthday?
January 31st, 2000.
In 2022, did you do anything for your birthday?
Yes.
What did you do?
I went out of town.
Where did you go?
I forgot.
Okay. Who did you go with?
Jose.
Wait. Again, same objection. This is, it is boldly.
Stop one person at a time.
It is boldly and disingenuous to say the least, to say, one moment I can't remember, and the next moment what happened, let me tell you. Either she doesn't remember or she does, but she needs to be honest. And she's not being honest, I object.
All right, just a moment. Everyone have a seat.
Oh, she's got her knickers in a knot, that one.
Remember, if you don't remember, you don't remember. Ask your question.
May I respond just for the record, Judge?
Ask your question.
Okay. Who all went with you?
Jose, Che, and Jeanette.
Who are Che and Jeanette?
Those are Jose's friends.
Objection, I'm sorry, was this when she remembered or when she didn't remember or when she didn't remember where she went? How did she remember who was with her?
She didn't remember where they went, but she remembered who they went with. Okay. The bench conference doesn't last very long, so you notice that she's jigging the entire time. She can't sit still. Hopefully there's a thumbtack under her chair. My bad.
Did Jordan and Mercedes go on this trip?
No, ma'am.
So Jose said that he saw Jordan beating Mercedes while you were in Austin. Is that possible?
Leading, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Objection, Your Honor. Also, we haven't even established that she's in.
The objection has been sustained.
You already mentioned that you, at one point, left Jose's. Why did you
leading, Judge?
All right, I'll hear the question.
Why did you leave Jose's?
All right, that objection will be overruled. You can answer.
Because of the abuse that was going on with Mercedes.
Why hadn't you left sooner?
Because I didn't feel like I had somewhere to go.
What changed on this day that made you finally leave?
Jeanette offered me a ride to her house and that I could stay with her, and she said that we would be safe there because Chet wasn't gonna show.
Your Honor. Here's the Judge.
Sustained.
You can't talk about what anyone else said, okay? Where did you go when you left Jose's?
To Jeanette's apartment.
Just have a look at the mess
What was the condition of Mercedes?
on here.
Very bad.
How was she acting?
Tired. I can't remember.
Can you tell the jury what happened the morning of February 7th, 2022?
I got up, I started washing clothes. The girls were there in Jeanette's apartment, and we were there by ourselves.
Overruled.
And I had an interview. I did the interview, and it was about 3:30, and Mercedes kind of like looked sick, like her body just didn't look okay. And soon after that, Jeanette and Jose showed up to the house, to the apartment, and that's when we moved the scenery to Jose's apartment, and she started throwing up really badly, and we were trying to figure out what was wrong with her.
I'm gonna back up a little bit. February 7th, how many days had passed since you left Jose's?
2.5.
Had the girls seen Jose since you left his apartment?
No.
Had Mercedes been eating?
Yes and no.
What do you mean by that?
Because like she wouldn't eat every day, but she was eating.
Okay. On the day of February 7th, did you feed her?
She fed herself, but she did eat.
Okay. Was there ever a time where you stuffed a utensil in her mouth?
No.
On that day, did Mercedes fall and hit her head at all?
Yes, ma'am.
What did she hit her head on?
She hit her head on like a lamp that was standing up, a tall lamp.
After she hit her head, was she conscious?
Yes.
What happened next?
I laid her down, and that's when Jose showed up to the apartment, and we took her to his apartment.
Did you call Jose and ask him to come?
I think I texted him.
Who all went to his apartment?
Jordan, Mercedes, and myself.
How far away is Jose's apartment from Jeanette's apartment?
A walking distance.
Is it the same complex?
Yes, ma'am.
Was this the Henry V apartment?
No.
Had anyone called 911 at this point?
No.
When you got to Jose's apartment, what was happening to Mercedes?
She was vomiting, and she was still responsive. She was talking. She was making requests, like she wanted some water. She was just throwing up.
What was she throwing up?
I had fed her that morning some bananas and ramen noodle and some Danimals, so I guess she was throwing that up.
Okay. I know you just said you had fed her. Do you literally mean
No.
you physically fed her?
No.
What else is happening to Mercedes' body while you're at Jose's?
Her feet started to get cold.
What did you do?
I put warm water in a bucket, and I put her feet in the bucket.
At this point, had anyone called 911?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I didn't think that she was dying.
Why didn't you go to the hospital?
I did go to the hospital, but it was too late.
Did Jose say anything to you about taking Mercedes to the hospital?
No.
Did you tell Jose that you did not want to go to the hospital?
No.
Were you and Jose talking about how you were afraid you were going to get caught if you took her to the hospital?
No.
Were there any discussions going on while Mercedes is dying?
She was still responsive, so we were just talking to her, telling her if she's okay, how does she feel, and between each other, we were just trying to figure out what was wrong with Mercedes.
At any point, did you have to perform CPR on Mercedes?
Yes,
How many times?
one time.
Who performed CPR on Mercedes?
Jose.
Did Mercedes regain consciousness after Jose performed CPR?
Yes.
And still, have you called 911 or taken her to the hospital?
That's when we took her to the hospital.
Was Mercedes conscious when you took her to the hospital?
Yes.
Mercedes was awake when you took her to the hospital?
She was still vomiting, so I don't know.
What time did you take her to the hospital? Do you know?
No.
Who all took Mercedes to the hospital?
Me and Jose.
Okay. What happened to Jordan?
Jordan was with Jeanette.
Tell me about the car ride. Where are you sitting in the car on the way to the hospital?
I'm in the front seat with Mercedes in my arms.
And who's driving?
Jose's driving.
Is Mercedes breathing at this time?
I couldn't tell.
Do you know where Jeanette worked at this time?
No.
What hospital did you take Mercedes to?
I think it was the Baptist Hospital,
Do you know what side of town it was on?
the south side.
I have a moment, Judge, to look through evidence. Oh. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize this as a map of San Antonio?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell where Jose's new apartment was on this map?
Right there.
Where that X is?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. I'm going to put it on the screen so you can follow along on your screen, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So this X right here, is that what you just testified to?
Yes.
Okay. And where is the hospital that you took Mercedes to?
At the red point.
At the red point all the way over here.
Yes.
How long did it take you to get to that hospital?
Maybe about 15 minutes.
How many hospitals did you pass along the way?
I'm not sure.
About 5.
What's that answer?
I'm not sure.
What happened when you get to the hospital?
They took Mercedes, and then not too long later, they said that she didn't make it.
Not a tear.
Surprised?
Not
Yes.
nothing.
I was devastated.
No emotion.
Was Jordan at the hospital?
Yes.
Whose phone did you have?
Jose's.
Why did you have his phone?
Because I didn't have one.
When did you take his phone?
That day, a couple minutes before we arrived at the hospital.
Prior to that day, would you use his phone?
I would take pictures of him sometimes, or take a picture of us, but that's about it.
While you were at the hospital, did you make a phone call using his phone?
Yes.
Who did you call?
My
Her
dad.
dad.
Did you call anyone else?
No.
Not 911. Just my dad.
Did anyone call?
Didn't want to inconvenience him to come over the other
Jose.
side of town to a hospital.
While you were on the phone with Jose, did he express concerns to you?
No. Well,
Did he ask you to do anything?
to bring his phone outside.
Oh, oh no. No, you
How
didn't.
did that phone conversation go?
I was screaming, telling him that my daughter just passed away, that I'm not worried about a phone, and that he needs to stop calling because I'm talking to the officers.
How many times did he ask you to bring him his phone?
Like 5 times.
Why wasn't Jose in the hospital with you?
I don't know. He just didn't go in.
Did you tell him not to go in?
No.
I'll pass the witness.
Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Connolly. I've had a long day. Let's start from the beginning.
So this is now cross-examination
Um,
from the defense.
You told amazing things about what Jose did to Mercedes. Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't you do the same things to her?
No, I didn't.
Do you realize that there are 6,015 pages of CPS reports about you?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. Do you know Angelica Edwards?
Yes.
Do you know she made a report to CPS about you?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Sustained.
Did you know that she ever made reports about you?
Again, judge, same objection, hearsay.
She just objected to that, and you just asked the same question, you
No, I
dipshit.
didn't know.
Who is she?
She's my god sister.
Your God's sister? Okay, and
Oh, just give me a minute. I'll
there's so many
I'll
reports here.
flip through this.
I'm gonna object to
Oh, that's my granddaughter's
Sorry, I
iPad.
extended myself. I apologize for that.
All right, so this is what everyone needs to remember. If you're talking out loud to yourself, you need to speak up because the court reporter is taking down everything everyone says. Okay, thank you.
No Oh God.
All right, you
Give
can
the woman a
ask your
microphone.
next question.
I'm looking for my notes, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Sorry to take so long.
Gonna catch flies with that mouth. Don't let the wind change. You think you'd be organised with your questions for the prime candidate witness?
Was Angelica Edwards afraid of you?
No,
Did she ever say she was afraid of you?
no,
Were any members of your family afraid of you, if you know?
no,
Do you remember the CPS visit at Homer's house where Angelica lived back in January of 2022?
yes.
And what happened at that meeting?
They just talked to Jordan and Mercedes by themselves, and they asked them a few questions, and they said that it looks okay, that everything's good, and that they were going to be closing the case.
At that time, did the CPS worker have Angelica, Mercedes take off her clothes at any time?
No,
Did she examine the body of Mercedes at that time?
no,
But she said everything was okay anyway.
yes,
And there were apparently no marks visible at that time on Mercedes. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And what about her hair? What did Mercedes' hair look like at that visit?
She had a full head.
Sorry?
She had a full head of
She
hair.
had a full head of hair. There's pictures that we saw of Mercedes while you were testifying where she had hardly any hair. Most of her hair was removed. None of that happened prior to February 7th?
No,
Now, I'm not sure that I heard it correctly, but how did you describe Mercedes' bad behavior?
I don't think they asked me that.
I didn't ask you. It was Mrs.
All right, just, excuse me, ask your question and just answer the question.
Do you recall, how would you describe Mercedes' bad behavior? I believe you said it earlier, but how would you describe it again? Her bad behavior. What did she do that was so bad?
She would just talk back or not keep her hands still while she's in timeout, or
What was that you said?
she would not keep her hands still while she was in timeout.
She wouldn't keep her hands still. What did you mean by that?
She would be touching and grabbing things, or like looking around, or trying to watch TV on the side, talking, trying to get her sister to talk to her and stuff like that.
Where did timeout occur? Was she always put in the closet?
No, at first she was just put in the room in a corner.
In the corner? And what instructions was she given when she was put in the corner?
To put her hands behind her back and not touch anything and be quiet. And if you cry, then you stay longer.
Were you criticized for your behavior towards her when she was in timeout?
No,
Were you criticized for using clothing to tie her arms and hands when she was in timeout?
I didn't do that.
Were you
That
ever
was one of my
criticized for it?
cats destroying
Yes,
something
you did it.
because
You were
mummy's not giving them
criticized for it.
attention.
No,
So if it turns up in reports, the reports are wrong. Is that right?
yes, ma'am.
So timeout, she would use her hands, move them around, she'd try to grab at things. What else did she do that was so bad?
She didn't really do much bad.
Then why was she beaten so much?
Jose didn't like a lot of things that she did.
I didn't say what did Jose do. I said, why was she beaten so much? You testified that you beat her with a belt. Why?
I didn't say I beat her with the belt.
Never said that?
No, I said I whooped her with the belt.
You would what?
I spanked her with the belt.
You spanked her with a belt.
Yes.
Isn't that called beating?
What's the difference?
No.
Whipped, spanked, beat.
Okay, so
You
how
still
else
took
was
a
she
belt to a
bad?
child.
Mercedes.
Like I said, she wouldn't say her ABCs, or she didn't count numbers, or she
Objection. Just a moment, please. She wouldn't say her ABCs. What was the context of that? Like, does she just automatically have to spurt them, or?
no, Jose would ask her to say her ABCs.
All right, stop. Everyone, it needs to be one person at a time, otherwise the court reporter is not going to take down the record.
You tell him, Judge. Get into him.
So when we're talking about when she was bad, and you want to go to Jose right away, but why did you think she was bad about ABCs? How did that come up?
I
with you?
didn't know that's, I would get mad at her because she would lie, or she would talk back, or she wouldn't do exactly what I told her to do, or she would play with things in timeout, or watch TV while I told her not to. She would I had these like vitamin gummies, and like I fell asleep one time, and she wanted to open the vitamin gummies and eat them as candy. So she got in trouble for that.
What did she do? Was she destructive towards things? Did she break things and deliberately break things, or throw
No.
things, or
No,
no? Did she steal from you?
no.
Was she violent toward you? Did she hit you, or?
Sometimes yes, sometimes she would kick me when I would spank her, or she'll claw at me, or do stuff like that.
She would claw at you.
Do you blame her?
Why would she kick you?
She would kick me because I would try to bend her over to spank her in her butt, and she didn't want to bend over, so she would kick and squirm.
Did you expect her to voluntarily bend over while you smacked her?
Yes,
Why was that?
I mean, if I tell you you're gonna get a spanking, then you should be ready for a spanking.
You should be ready for it.
Yes,
Did you ever spank Jordan?
yes,
And she would just bend over and let you
Yes.
without hesitation.
yes.
And that was your definition of a good,
That's
good
very nice.
child, right?
That's good behavior.
If needed. What other things did she do specifically that got her in trouble? Mercedes, I'm talking about.
I think I already answered that question.
Well, indulge me. What else was there?
Well,
Nothing
indulge
else.
me.
Nothing else.
Not that I can remember.
So the worst thing she ever did was not listen to you, talk back to you, not cooperate when you were trying to smack her or beat her. Yes?
I never claimed to smack her or beat her.
When
You
we
said
were trying
spank.
to get her to turn over
Difference.
so you could, what to her?
Spank her.
Potato,
Spank her
potato.
butt. So when she wouldn't cooperate so that you could spank her butt, that was a bad act. Is that right?
Yes.
Have I covered all the bad acts that she's done?
She would lie.
What would she lie about?
Like for instance, there was this one time that they were on the balcony, and um, she was throwing the gummy bears off of the balcony, and I told her not to get near the balcony because you can fall and you can end up on the ground. And so when I asked her, I said, Mercedes, I saw you do this, and she said, no, I didn't do that, and I saw her do it. So she lied.
So that was considered a lie by you. And that was bad behavior, in your opinion?
Yes.
What did you do to her when she lied about throwing gummy bears up the balcony?
Put her in timeout.
And where was the timeout? Was it in the closet this time?
No, it was in the room.
In the room? Which
Pardon
room?
my Eno.
In me and Jose's room.
You're in Jose's room. Where was this?
In Henry B. Apartments.
And what floor were you on?
The second floor?
What kind of a fence was around the balcony?
I don't remember.
And you considered it to be you and Jose's room, but you didn't live there. You were just staying there, right?
No, I moved in for 3 weeks.
You moved in for 3 weeks. When was this?
When was what?
When did you move in for 3 weeks?
Sometime in January.
In February of what year?
January 2022.
January of 2022 is when you moved in. You hadn't lived there before that?
I mean, I would stay the night, but we didn't live there. I didn't have none of my belongings there or anything like that.
Where were you living at that time?
At Homer's house.
At Comer's house, and that was where Angelica lived as well, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you were hardly at Jose's house at all prior?
No, we were there a lot.
You were there a lot. Did the kids go to school?
They were enrolled, but they didn't really go to school.
Why?
I don't know. I just liked having them with me.
You what?
I like to have them with me.
Apparently not enough.
Sometimes I did, but they had a hard time of getting dropped off, and I didn't like to see them cry.
Didn't like to see them cry, be dropped off at school, but you will watch your boyfriend beat the crap out of them, allegedly.
Sustained. Ask your next question.
The fuck.
I forgot the name.
Where was it located?
Near Moorbach and 410.
Moorbach and 410. Did you live on the south side?
No,
Where did Homer live?
Moorbach and 410.
Moorbach and 410. How long did they go to school? What grades were they?
Jordan was in first grade and Mercedes was in kindergarten.
Kindergarten. At some school near 410 Moorbach.
I think it was called Hatchet. I'm not sure.
Hatchet, right? And where was your pediatrician?
Overruled. Yes, you can answer.
Vivia Pediatrics in the south side.
And next to what hospital was that?
Southwest General Hospital.
Southwest General. And that's where you took Mercedes the night she was dead, right?
No,
Was it?
Really?
no, it was the Baptist Hospital
Baptist Hospital where?
in the south side.
Was it across from the pediatricians?
No,
You took her to a Baptist hospital, and that's the only name of the Baptist hospital?
yes,
Sure they
Wasn't
still.
it called Texas Vista?
I don't know, maybe,
Maybe.
but I know it was the Baptist Hospital.
Baptist hospital. So, you lived with Homer, and Angelica lived there too. The kids went to, you think, the Hatchet School over by Marbach and 410, but they didn't go regularly.
Yeah, they didn't go regularly.
And whose responsibility was it for those children to go to school?
Yeah, Southwest
Mine.
General Hospital,
And
as per
why didn't you take
Gustavo
them to school?
Sabanto, the charge nurse
Overruled.
in the emergency
Overruled.
department,
What was the question?
Why
testified
didn't you
on
take
day
them to
one.
school?
They didn't like to depart from me.
I'm sorry?
They didn't like to depart from me.
But you're the parent. Didn't you feel it was your responsibility to take them to school?
Yes, I mean, they went to daycare for a long time and they would go to daycare, but when they started school, they didn't really like to go to school, so I would feel bad and I would keep them with me.
If they didn't want to go, so you would feel bad and they didn't go to school, is that correct?
Yes,
It's your responsibility to educate them.
Do you think that's appropriate?
no, I should have made better choices.
Oh, hallelujah.
No, I should have made better choices.
Yes. Did they stop going to, when did they stop going to school?
I can't say.
When you were staying with Jose at the Henry B apartments, did they go to school then?
No,
What did the children do all day?
well, they did go to school. Like, it's not like they never went to school because even when I had the CPS case, they told me that the school had made a complaint that they smelled like cigarettes. So they did go to school. It's just some days they just wouldn't go to school. They would stay with me.
Cigarettes.
That doesn't make any sense.
Did you smoke?
No,
Why did they smell cigarettes?
I don't know. I didn't think they did because I don't smoke cigarettes.
Is it true that Mercedes had asthma?
Yes,
Well, here we go again.
And did you prevent her from being around cigarette smoke?
nobody smoked in the house, so I don't know why they made that allegation.
What other complaints, if any, did the school make about you?
That's it. That's all the CPS told me.
Is that why you really stopped taking them to school, because there were complaints?
No,
we were to contact the school, what did they tell us?
Objection, hearsay, and speculation.
Sustained.
So nobody in the house at Homer smoked.
No,
When you were at various other places, how many other places besides Jose's did you stay at?
that's it.
Didn't you have another boyfriend that you stayed at in December of
Oh, yeah.
2021?
Yes,
What was his name?
his name was Damon Gonzalez.
David Rosales. And did the children stay with you then when you were at his house?
Yes,
And who did he live with?
he lives with his grandmother.
Did she have complaints about you too?
No,
She was happy that you were there?
yes.
Did they smoke?
Damon smoked.
So maybe that was his smoke that was the school was complaining about with the children?
Object to relevance.
Overruled.
I answered.
Yes, you can answer.
Yes, maybe, but he didn't smoke cigarettes. He smoked weed,
Oh, he smoked weed.
and he wouldn't do it around the girls.
So when the school complained about smoke, they weren't necessarily speaking about cigarette smoke.
No, they said cigarette smoke.
Cigarette smoke? And you have no idea who smoked cigarettes around them.
I don't know why they would say that.
Well, they did though, apparently. You said
Yes, but I don't know why they said that.
Well, if they were with you all the time and the school complained about smoke, where was the smoke coming from?
I'm gonna object to ask and answer.
That'll be overruled. If you know the answer, you can answer.
I don't know.
You had a pediatrician. What was the name of the pediatrician?
All right. I think we might stop here because she goes into quite a bit of detail about questioning her around the pediatrician. And I think I know it's quite a heavy testimony to digest, and it's weighing me. So no doubt it's weighing on you as well. So we'll take a break, and I think we'll pick this up again tomorrow. There is only one witness testifying tomorrow, which is the Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Kimberly Molina. So we will pick up tomorrow where we left off with Katrina's testimony, and then we will continue on with the Chief Medical Examiner's testimony as well. So tomorrow is day 4. I might do the live stream possibly a little bit earlier tomorrow afternoon. I will put up the thumbnail and give you plenty of notice. But it's 11 o'clock in Melbourne, Eastern Standard Time. And this little true crime fairy is ready for bed. So I hope that, well, no, I can't say that you enjoyed the testimony, because I don't think anybody could possibly do that. But if you like the content that I'm presenting, you like true crime, you like investigations, anything to do with trials and courts, then please feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I'm not, it's a brand new channel, so I'm not monetized at all at the moment, and it won't cost you anything to like and subscribe anyway. So you need to get a certain number of subscribers to be able to meet the YouTube monetization requirements, and within a certain time frame as well. So if you like true crime and you like any type of coverage, we can have an interactive discussion, and perhaps even try and decide on what trial we shall focus on next. So tomorrow is day 4 of 7. So we have 3 days left, and that includes the state's 4 full case in chief, the defence's argument, closing statements, verdict, and yeah, from then on, I won't give anything away. So until then, thank you for watching, and I shall bid you all adieu. Good night.